each of these present, past and future tenses, we have 4 forms, 4 different types. When you talk about the present tense, we have 4 forms, like we will say simple present tense, present continuous tense, present perfect tense, and finally present perfect continuous. And then in each of these, we will have 4 forms and we look at each of them in detail. Okay. Now let's look at some examples here. Okay. Let's look at these sentences. Okay, let us look at these sentences that I'm going to write. We're talking about tenses. There are 3 main tenses in English. The first of it is the present, the past, and the future. And now we're going to look at very carefully at the first of its kind at the present tense. And in the present tense, we have 4 forms. And that's what we are going to do now. In the present tense, we have 4 forms. Okay. Now, look at these 4 sentences I have here. I love. That's a sentence by itself. I love. Now, in the next, I say, I am. I am loving. I am loving. And the third I have here is, I have loved. And finally, in the 4th sentence I have here, I have been loving. So I have 4 sentences here, and in these I'm going to introduce the 4 forms of present tense. So look at it carefully. I love, I am loving, I have loved, I have been loving. In all this, I told you in the beginning, when you talk about tenses, look at the verb. When is it done? The time when the action was done. Okay. These 4 types of sentences, the verbs in all these 4 types of sentences refers to the present time. Look at the verb. I love. I am loving. Present. I have loved. Yes, you be loved. I have been loving. Now look at the verbs. We are looking at the verbs I love, loved, loving, been, have been loving, am loving, I love, have loved. We are looking at the verbs in these sentences. When we look carefully at the verbs in the 4 sentences here, we see the present time, now. Now what's going on? Now and are, and therefore it's said to be the present tense. Okay? So we are looking at the present tense, and the present tense has 4 different forms. Okay. So look at, this is present tense. So what are we talking about? I'm talking to you about the first one, the present tense. Present tense. In the present tense, I said there are 4 types. There are 4 types. What are the 4 types? Let us look at it. Okay. Now, the 4 types of tenses in the present tense. Okay. 4 types of present tenses. First one. The first of it, simple present tense. The first is simple. Simple present tense. That's the first of its kind. In the present tense, we have four. First is simple present tense. So the sentence, first sentence, the verb is love. Let's look at the verb in the first sentence, love. I love. Now, love, the verb love expresses the action done. I love. The verb love expresses the action done. In the present time, now, without indicating the state of the action. It does not tell us anything about the completeness or incompleteness of the action. Hence, the verb is said to be simple present tense. So we say, I love. That is the simple present tense. I love. So the word, the verb love is in the simple present tense. Okay? Now let's look at the sentence 2. In the sentence 2 you have, I am loving. I am loving. So the verb am loving. We are talking about the verb am loving. Now what's happening to the verb am loving? Shows the action am loving is still going on, continuing. The verb am loving doesn't stop. It is going on. It is continuing. The action is also incomplete, unfinished, imperfect, continuous. And therefore we say hence the verb is said to be in the present continuous tense. So second one is the present continuous. Tense. And what is that? I am loving. What is the example? I am loving. It's going on. What is the verb? Am loving. What did we say? The present continuous tense. Am loving. The verb am loving shows the action is still going on or it is continuing. The action is incomplete, unfinished, imperfect and continuous. Therefore, we say the verb am loving is to be in the present continuous tense. Now, the third form is the present perfect tense. Let's look at the third form, the third type, that is the present perfect tense. Now, let's look at the third sentence. I have loved. In the third sentence, I have loved. The verb have loved. The verb have loved shows the action is complete. I have loved. The verb tells us the action is complete. The action is finished. And it is perfect. So action is over, it's finished, complete and perfect. Hence, the verb have loved is said to be in the present perfect tense. Present, the third type is present perfect, present perfect tense. And the example is, I have loved. I have loved. Present perfect tense. Now we go to the next form and the last form that is in the present tense, the last one. Let's look at the fourth sentence. It says, I have been loving. That's the fourth sentence. So look at the verb have been loving. Okay. In the fourth sentence, the verb have been loving shows the action is going on continuously. I have been loving. The action is going on continuously to the present time. And hence, the verb have been loving is in the present perfect continuous tense. Okay? So, the fourth type is since have been loving is action going on, continuous and in the present time. Therefore, the verb have been loving is said to be in the present perfect continuous tense. And the example is, I have been loving. I have been loving. I have been loving. And what is that verb there? Have been loving is the verb. Let's go over what we have done so far. As I told you, I am doing today with you tenses. When you talk about tense, we talk about the verb. We look very closely at the verb and the verb of the tense. It tells us the time of the action. Is it done now, present? Was it done yesterday? Or what will it be done? So time, when you look very closely at the verb, we know when is the action done. So the verb, what is the meaning of the tense? There are three main tenses in English grammar. There are three main. That is the present, the past, and the future. Present, what's going on? Past, finished some work, some action, finished doing. And in the future, what will it be doing? What is the action that will go on? So, in the three main tenses in the English grammar are present tense, past tense, future tense. And in the present tense, I have given you two examples. Tom works hard. Tom works hard. Present. I like books. I like books. Present. What's happening? Now. The past tense. Tom worked hard. He finished doing. Past. It is over. I liked books. So the past tense. And third main tense is the future tense. Tom will work hard. I shall like books. Now in each of these three main tenses, there are four forms for each. We are taking the first, the present tense. I said we are going to look at these four sentences very closely, but we are looking at the present tense. The present tense, we have four types of present tenses. We have four types of present tenses. And for that I given you four sentences here. First, I said, I love. We are talking about present tense, and in the present tense, the first type, I love. The simple present tense, I love. We are looking at the verb, love. The verb love, what does it say? The verb love expresses the action done in the present time. The verb love expresses the action done now, present time. Okay, and it does not tell us anything about the completeness. say I love. We do not know about the completeness or incompleteness of the action. Therefore, we say the verb love is simple present tense. The verb love is simply the simple present tense. Let's look at the second sentence. Am loving. I am loving. Now, am loving. In the second sentence, we have the verb am loving. What did I say? The action here, am loving, is going on and it is continuous. It's incomplete, it's unfinished, it's perfect and continuous. And therefore we say it's present and continuous tense. Am loving, it's going on. The love, the action is going on and it is present and continuous. It's perfect and continuous. Therefore we say present continuous tense. Now let's look at the third sentence I given you. I have loved. I have loved. The verb have loved. Let's look at the verb have loved. Shows the action is complete, finished and perfect. Have loved. Complete, finished and perfect. And therefore, the verb have loved tells us present perfect tense. It's in the present perfect. And finally, we have I have been loving. Have been loving. Let's look at the verb have been loving. The verb have been loving shows the action is going on continuously. And to the present time. It's going on continuously to the present time. Hence, we call it the present perfect and continuous tense.